for anyone who didn't read the paper, congratulations to C-Mart for winning Best of Parade.
All right.
And congratulations to the Sitka High baseball team for being the most theme-oriented for the parade, which was Star Spangled Banner, and they definitely played that off well. And then you can probably all guess who most enthusiastic was. Yeah, that was a pretty easy one to decide. So, so huge congratulations to all of the winners. And next year we look forward to having even more prizes and categories. So, with that, I'm going to finally turn the floor over to Zool Bailey, Artistic Director of the Sitka Summer Music Festival, and he has with him today students of the Sitka Cello Seminar. So please welcome Zool Bailey.
It's with great pleasure that I announce that we're halfway through the Sitka Cello Seminar. You've heard my spiel before. This is a visionary development, inaugural birth, whatever one wants to say. When I first got here to Sitka, I had my own ideas about what Sitka could be and how it could impact the rest of the world. And that doesn't just mean bringing commerce here, but that means making people come here to represent us and to see why people live in Sitka and what Alaska is all about. And so, of course, it was broadening the festival and bringing different kinds of artists from around the world, my crew. But it was in that process, in that evolution, we were able to secure the option and the future of Stevenson Hall on the Fine Arts campus, which gave a reality to the vision of having a house to start residencies and an educational component to the Sitka Fine Arts Camp, in addition to the Sitka Summer Music Festival. And I say Fine Arts Camp because we're all on the same campus, and we're all going to be sharing a general vision of the arts here in years to come. The Fine Arts Camp focuses from the ground up to essentially high school at this point. The Summer Music Festival is coming from the top down, bringing professionals in, and I thought a great way to start linking the two, as well as to creating a real great springboard for the future, and those who will be our ambassadors would be to bring a young artist program here. And in my case, I wanted to start with cello, because it's my forte. And so this is the first summer that we started a seminar where 10 cellists from around the world are coming in to study with myself and Dr. Melissa Kraut from the Cleveland Institute of Music. The idea is that we want to create future ambassadors of music, not just those who wait for people to knock on their door to say we're ready to hear you play, which is what most music schools do, or they don't do, or they make musicians feel like that's going to happen, but to create people who are proactive individually as musicians, and also communicative, and also through the arts, society building. What does that mean? Well, that means taking music to the people, trying to use the arts as ways to bring us all together. And so this seminar isn't just about the lessons. It's about representing oneself where you feel comfortable with yourself. So what does that mean? It means finding yourself. That means finding yourself through music, finding yourself to be able to communicate in public, both verbally and through your instrument, which is kind of the same. And how does one take music to the people? Well, you do it by simply taking music to the people. So they are playing in the cafes. Tonight's Westmark. A couple of days ago was Ludwig's Wine Bar. Tomorrow is Ludwig's again. And we've been playing in the hospitals and having open rehearsals for the community. We're also playing for the Fine Arts Camp. The students, the young artists that we have, are also teaching to learn to teach more, teaching the fine arts kids, the cellists. And we, as faculty, are giving presentations for the whole school. So as you can see, it's kind of a perfect storm, an incredible time. You've heard me talk and talk and talk about this. But the fact is that it's begun now. You're going to see it really take off with the evolution and the polishing of Stevenson Hall, because we're now using it as a facility, not just an idea. Next summer will be the second cello seminar, but in addition, we're probably going to add amateurs adults who can come here and bring people from around the world who may be doctors and other people who studied music growing up but do other things as their profession that want to come here and study chamber music, cello, things like that. So you will see a big change. That will actually really change tourism because they bring their businesses here as well. So we're going to then open up the other kinds of professions to you and do these same kind of presentations where they come in here and they introduce themselves as a physician down in Seattle or an entrepreneur in Dallas or whatever. So that's stage 2. Stage 17 is that building, Stevenson Hall, will be used every single week of the year for something. And it will become kind of a lightning rod for the arts, of course, and also business and tourism for this city. It will start here and will resonate through not only throughout the state, because in the future, they don't even know this, but with these residencies, we're going to create artists that are comfortable bringing music to the people, and then in exchange for that time that they're here, we're going to send them throughout the state on tours to perform and do this for everyone in all of Alaska. So we're creating our future, and we're creating a template that has really never been seen before. I've repeated myself, but I want you to hear this, and I want them to hear it. Before Sitka, in 1972, there was no chamber music festival in the world. This was the first that I know of. Before that, there were music festivals, but they were all over the map. And you don't know this, but before 1972, Paul Rosenthal had this great idea to strictly do chamber music and bring this kind of professional environment, very intimate, to one place, and it was Sitka. So now in 2014, we're starting a new element where we're creating better human beings that play music. And we're trying to make them feel complete and then having them represent Alaska. I've asked the musicians to, because this is part of the process, to represent themselves. So I'm going to generally welcome the Sitka Cello Seminar participants, and then they're going to take over the show. And then halfway through their show, I'm going to stand up for some questions. So please welcome the Sitka Cello Seminar cellists. While they're getting prepared, we are having a celebration on Saturday night, and I hope you will join us for that. It's a Saturday evening. It's $15 for adults, $10 for students, and it kind of culminates in a big cello celebration to let you see what we've been doing. Our doors have been open for 2 weeks, which means all the students from the Fine Arts Camp are welcome to come in and watch the master classes, the open sessions, as well as the fact is they can ask. All of these students here are in school. Some at the Cleveland Institute of Music, some at Juilliard, other schools, the New England Conservatory of Music. And I told the Fine Arts Camp this morning at 8 a.m., if you want to go into music and or go to college in this regard, these are the people you ask. So it's been a very interesting process.
So I'll just reintroduce myself. I'm Alex Cox. I'm originally from Southern Florida, but I now live in New York City studying at the Juilliard School, and I'm really, really happy to be in Sitka for this summer.
Robert Lee. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm currently a student from the Cleveland Institute of Music studying with Dr. Melissa Crowd. That's why I'm here.
My name is Wesley Skinner. I am originally from Western Kentucky, and I study with Dr. Melissa Kraut in Cleveland. And that's also the reason why I went to study with her and world-renowned Mr. B.
Hi, I'm Hannah Hoffman. I go to the University of North Florida in Jacksonville, and I study with Nick Curry.
So we're going to start, like Mr. Bailey said, with 2 pieces and then have a little question and answer session. And the first piece we're going to start with is by Johann Sebastian Bach.
actually told them that you'd be asking questions about their stay in Sitka, and or the studies, or these kinds of things. So I'd like to open it up for any questions that you might have for them. Or yes.
So what was that piece?
Oh, that piece was called Mellow Cello Tango by a guy named Michael Kibbe.
Cello ensembles are not irregular, are actually regular, because the fact is that the cello, with the lengthening of the fingerboard in time, actually encompasses all instruments now. So, just like the human voice, it would be like a quartet of singers. And so, throughout the last 25 years, these ensembles have spawned everywhere, and they're really some very, very nice renditions of the pieces that you know. Any other questions? Yes.
Did Stradivarius build any cellos or only violins?
Stradivarius did. Oh, you tell.
Yeah, he did build cellos. He built more violins than cellos, so the cellos are even more rare than the violins are.
I had the opportunity to see one in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts one time.
I know. I believe there's 73 Stradivarius cellos, or 70 something. Do you know the number?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, and there, when you see one in the museum, it is very sad because it's not being played, and just like laying in a bed for a month or two, the wood stops vibrating and resonating. So yes, of course we have to take care of them, but they were not necessarily built to be just viewed.
Right. I wonder if that one's in lockdown or if it's allowed out of its cage to be played periodically.
A lot of times those are put in museums for insurance reasons. Like if it's been passed to the families, they couldn't afford to have it on their person, so they give it to a museum like a painting for everyone to see. But as opposed to having it in a safe, they let everyone see it, and then the museum takes over the insurance, which saves them, in this case, a lot of money. Yes.
So, when you guys heard about the classes that were being held here, what was the first thing that you thought of when you were putting your name down to come? Was it, Alaska, or was it working with Mr. Bailey, or, why did you come?
I'll go first. I have studied with Dr. Kraut before, who's teaching alongside Mr. Bailey, and she originally told me about this idea that they had, and it was an extremely rare opportunity because I would never get to study with Mr. Bailey any other way, and so the two of them together, you have this fantastic concert cellist along with this pedagogue, this world, and they're just it's this duo that you would really find nowhere else, and there's no other festivals that give this sort of opportunity. Usually I think music festivals seem to be really big and you have one lesson a week and it's sort of, you're one in several hundred, but here I'm 1 in 10, and I have a lesson every day, alternating teachers, and it's a really fantastic experience. You don't get it anywhere else.
And to go along, only to add to what she's saying, it's such a great place to be here in Sitka because we're not, I guess we're not distracted by the city around us, but we can go out into the forest for a walk or just enjoy the scenery around here because it actually is inspiring in a way. I can't think of anything better than the fresh air around here and the fresh water just to
or the rain.
Yeah. And just detox from society and be able to focus and really immerse ourselves in what we're here for.
Been to a lot of festivals before, or even smaller festivals where there are about 60 students, all string instruments, which felt small, but this is much smaller than that, and it is great because we get lessons every day, and we also get to play master classes almost every other day, and when my teacher brought up this seminar, I knew immediately that I wanted to go here, In addition to all the photos that she showed, like the entire studio, and like how everyone wanted to come just because of how beautiful the place is. Just the whole intensive aspect of it, and that we'd be living in one house and be able to like be part of the community and perform and do outreach. That was a big factor in why I came.
I think my initial reaction when I was sitting in my tiny New York apartment and I was looking on my computer and saw both of their names on the same program and saw that it was in Alaska, it was like, no way, Zoe Bailey and Dr. Kraut teach, no way, Alaska, and I knew I had to figure out some way to get here.
We've created an environment that is very unique. Usually people are in dormitory situations where they're in different buildings. They might meet in the cafeteria during the day. Most places breed competition. They don't breed community. And so here we're all under the same roof, in the same hallway, even the faculty. And so we're seeing and we're representing and creating kind of a family-like environment, which is Sitka, which is Alaska. We take care of our own. We take care of each other. And so we're showing them through example. Melissa and I are kin in this regard in what we believe and what we both together bring to everything. And so we try to showcase that every day. In fact, in the master classes we share as well. So we share all common areas of the house, and we've laughed that we've had to get them to stop practicing and stop playing and stop enjoying themselves because no one can sleep. Yes.
Well, I have to ask a simple question. Define pedagogue. Melissa is a pedagogue. I mean, Dr. Kraut is a pedagogue, but some of us don't know exactly what.
Typically, that like people get attributed that word who, like, to make a really horrible analogy, like Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, he would be like a pedagogue, someone who just seems to know a way to teach in this way that you wouldn't expect, and it yields huge results. I think that's like the most relatable way to describe it.
I would definitely describe Dr. Kraut as a pedagogue because she's a guide. It's not just about put your finger here and vibrate here. It's how does that make you feel in the bigger picture. My mother, growing up, she's a piano teacher. Most of her students write her these long letters about 3 or 4 years after they leave her in high school, thanking her for being their guide, to finding themselves, to get them the courage as people to go after whatever they're going after. And a lot of times it's not music, but music tends to create stability and balance in people because it gives them the confidence to explore those parts of their personalities that make them believe and push forward. So Melissa, if you could witness her teaching, it's wonderful. She's the person who can say just the right things in kind of a maternal, spiritual way. And I'm kind of the soldier who's been out on the battlefield who comes back and goes, "Don't use that weapon; it doesn't work." And she's telling you how it will be, and I tell you that how it is. So between the two of us, it really has worked well. I consider myself a performer teacher. I consider her a teacher performer, and so we meet in the middle. Yes.
How competitive is to get into this program?
Well, we only had 10 slots because there were only 10 possible situations in Stevenson, and they were filled immediately. And we also were protective of those spots. And the first thing I said to Melissa Kraut was, I don't want just someone to apply and feel like they can get in. They have to be a quality person. You need to describe their personality to me because I protect Sitka. And it's also with the festival included. So she would call me and say, here are the people that would come, and I really believe that this would make a wonderful situation for the seminar. And so, long story short, they filled up quickly, immediately. I would imagine that there has to be some kind of connection to the people for the future for them to come here. There cannot just be a blind application of who's the best, who's the whatever, because that's not what it's about either. I want to know people's motives. They've all said these motives that they wanted to be around Melissa or myself or be in this environment, which are the same motives of wanting something bigger. So we opened the applications in January or February, and we knew immediately the 10. And then what the issue was is that would those 10 still be able to come here by May 1st? So we filled the slots and we waited until life caught up. And then I think everybody still came. There was no slot that needed to be filled.
As you know, I attended the part of the master class yesterday, and that was really fascinating. I recommend it to anybody. You're definitely not coddling them. They're getting they're really being put on the spot as far as being taught by you and or Melissa and in front of their peers. And wow, this has got to be really a growth experience for them. My question is 2 weeks long enough?
We just talked about that over here. It's perfect because they're so exhausted by this intensive treatment that we're straddling perspective loss. You know, there's such a grind that then the tissues, the muscles have to heal afterwards. So this is what we're trying to find, that balance where you can still spend time by yourselves, but yet the intensity is what leaves the lasting impression. So I think 2 weeks at this point is a great amount of time, especially for this concentration. But one of the highlights is also the hikes they've been on and other things that they've done. So we're trying to find that balance. We're trying to find possibly someone to take them fishing. So anyone has any ideas? They're here until Tuesday, so they got through Monday to try to catch a fish as well.
Have they been kayaking?
Kayaking, I think we've set that up. We're trying to find those options as well. Why don't we play 2 more pieces, and then we'll open it up one more time and then say goodbye.
Now we're going to play a serenade by Goltermann, and it's just written for 4 cellos. It's really beautiful.
So we'd like to just invite you to Saturday's big event, and also to come to Stevenson at any time over the next few days. They'll be here until Tuesday. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you guys. Anytime you want to come play during our lunch, you're always welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Zul, very much for being here with us today. I hope you can all join us next week. Al Clow will be here with the Department of Transportation talking about Sitka and projects here, so it should be really good. I encourage everyone to come. You will not see me. I will be down in Los Angeles learning how to do my job better at the Chamber. I'll be at the U.S. Chamber's Institute for Organization Management for my 3rd year. It's fantastic training, so I'll come back with all kinds of fun new ideas. But sad that I'll miss lunch next week. So have a great rest of your week, and come to that meeting tonight. Thank you, everybody. Hi, I'm Jennifer Robinson. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Sitka Chamber of Commerce, and glad to have just a moment to talk to you. I want to thank everybody for participating in this year's 4th of July parade, whether you are marching in the parade or helping to put together a float or a spectator on the sidewalk enjoying the parade as it went by. I am very, very, very excited that we had awards again this year and want to announce our winners. The Best of Parade goes to Seamar Quality Foods for their fantastic display. I guess it wasn't really a float, but they had their old car and just very creative in what they do and how they put it together, and their generosity. And then our Best of Theme, our theme this year was the Star Spangled Banner, and that award went to the Sitka High Wolves, and they did a great job. And of course, Ed Conway, our Grand Marshal of the parade, rode with them, and they just did a really great job. And then most enthusiastic went to the Sitka Fine Arts Camp, and I think they had about 200 kids in that group, and just a fantastic job and very excited, and they really add a lot to the parade. So congratulations to all of this year's winners, and we're looking forward to introducing even more fun awards and prizes next year. So, and then coming up on the horizon, we always have something going on at the Sitka Chamber. On July 27th is our annual golf tournament. It's brought to us by Alaska Communications, and this is our 6th annual. Would love to have you play. You can register online at sitkachamber.com. Of course, you can always call the office if you have any questions, 747-8604. Again, I'm Jennifer Robinson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Sitka Chamber. Thank you so much for letting me talk to you for just a moment.
These guys. That's I always like to qualify that. But I'm ecstatic because personally I think cello is is the most beautiful instrument in the world. That's my personal bias. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. So and my theory is, and then we can have our experts either corroborate or dispute, but I think that people respond emotionally to the cello because I think it mimics the human voice, the range of the human voice. So I think it evokes a lot of emotion when that particular instrument sings, and that's my personal bias. So with that, I would like to introduce our special guest today. This is an outreach that is coming to us from the Sitka Summer Music Festival, and it is an inaugural program that I can only see being a raging success and expanding infinitely for us here in Sitka and for musicians throughout the country and world. It's the Sitka Summer Music Festival Cello Symposium or Cello Institute. And Dr. Melissa Kraut has returned to us through her collaboration with Zul to be one of the lead instructors. Dr. Kraut holds degrees from the Cleveland Institute of Music, the University of Iowa, and Northwestern University. She's participated in the Aspen Music Festival, Banff Center for the Arts, and festivals in Europe. She, as an active performer, she has led a diverse career on stage with solo and chamber performances throughout the United States and Europe. She's held multiple leadership positions in orchestras throughout the United States as well. And she teaches at the Meadowmount School of Music in upstate New York, and has also been the cello instructor and head of strings at the Interlochen Arts Camp. And I know we have some local Sitka kids who attend Interlochen as boarding school students. Dr. Kraut's students, some of whom are here today, have achieved great success with top prizes in national and international competitions. And while she's not being fabulous and generous with her skills in the musical realm, she lives in Shaker Heights, Ohio, with her 2 daughters. Please welcome Dr. Melissa Kraut.
I have to update my bio because I now live in Hudson with my husband and 2 daughters.
Okay. That's even better.
It would be really sad to be left out of that. Thank you for having us here today. It's wonderful to be back in Sitka. So when I came last summer for the first time, Zool, I won't quote what he said to me, but he said, once you come here, you'll never want to leave. And he was right, and I pretty much counted the days to coming back. So it's great to be here. It's a very special environment. And also thank you to Rotary, because I can't tell you how many students have come my way that have been sponsored by Rotary scholarships nationally, and competitions and awards. And it's one of the first places I send students when they're looking for assistance. So it's great to be here and to be a part of your organization, and very grateful. I met Zool Bailey in 2008. I always joked that we were friends within 32 seconds. And we had just an instant rapport and a very like-minded way of approaching music and learning, and talked about an atmosphere that would be kind of utopia to learn and train students. And when he took over this position at the Sitka Music Festival, he called me and he said, I think I found it. So we started about 2 years ago, once he took over the transition, and started designing what the program would look like and what the curriculum would be like and what it would feel like to be here. And last summer he said, you should come and perform at the festival and just see what this is about, so I could have a visual picture of the facilities and the layout and the setup and the timing of things. And we went from there and put it together. And we did not really advertise. We both posted it on Facebook, and we were full pretty quickly. So, and it was really important also that we picked the right group of people, and that means students that would be open and excited about the experience, and that we felt would fit in to the experience, because we're all living under one roof right now, which is a different experience than I've ever had as a teacher, and also gonna have to talk to them about being quieter at night, and also a different experience than I think the students have ever had also, because at school where I teach a lot of these students, I see them, a couple hours a week, and they have their lesson, then they leave, and I leave, and that's the end of it. And here it sort of lends itself to just 24/7 discovery. Both Zool and I are actually overjoyed with how it's turned out. So people have said, is it what you expected? And I think both of us have said it's better than we expected. And we set the bar pretty high to begin with. So it's been really wonderful. And I think what the students are saying, and maybe they can speak for themselves, so I won't speak for you guys, but what I'm excited about is that they're learning. Most festivals are about competition, who's the best, and who's going to emerge as the best. And they also are a little more of the same of what they do during the year, which is practice, 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 perform, perform, perform. What we wanted to do was have more of an exploration experience and more of a collegiality and collaborative experience, and to also teach them to be ambassadors of music in the community. So being here and doing outreach, we've been to the women's home shelter, we were at the hospital, we're going to the Pioneer Home, we're going to be here at Rotary, I think tomorrow's Chamber of Commerce, we were on the radio this morning, They played last night, some of them at Ludwig's. They'll be at Westmark tomorrow night, Ludwig's again Thursday night. And they're getting to experience and learn what it means to be part of a community and to connect to your community where you live and to be that ambassador of music for the place you live. And even sitting here, I think some of them were probably, I'm guessing, you guys can tell me, have never been in a Rotary meeting, right? And so this is another element for them to understand how a community functions and how the people in a community come together to work for the betterment, not only of community, but of society in general. So these are the conversations that we're having, and besides just the traditional lessons and master classes that we've had discussions. We've had a discussion on how to be an ambassador of your community. We've had a discussion on the physical aspects of being a cellist, because it's a lot like being an athlete. It's an actually demanding job. Tomorrow I think we have one that's called Creating Your Destiny, which we're going to talk about how do you have a career in music and what does that look like. And what's interesting is that my career in music and Zool Bailey's career in music are completely different. We're about the same age, but we took two totally different paths. And so between the two of us, we've done everything there is to do, almost, in the music business. And so they'll have the opportunity to ask us questions and pick our brains about how that happened and how we got there, so that they can learn how to create their own path in the music business. And then this will all culminate Saturday night with our Celebration concert, which you're going to get a very little preview of today, because if you've never heard 4 cellos together, this will be your first time. If you've never heard 12 cellos together, you should come Saturday night, because we will end with an ensemble that involves all of us playing. It's a great sound, and I will tell you that actually books have been written on the personalities of musicians. And the big question, it's the chicken and egg question. Is your personality shaped by the instrument you play, or do you pick the instrument because of your personality? But I will tell you that cellists are known for being extremely cool. Yay! Sorry if you play the violin. We are not uptight. We're not uber competitive that way. We're cool. You put 10 cellists in the room and they become friends instantly. Would you guys second that? And this is why there is such a thing as a cello congress, and there is no violin congress. And I'm not even going to touch the flute because I'm already sitting there. But there have been books written about this. But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the sound and the resonance, and also that the instrument is up against your body, and those vibrations, just like they're amazingly powerful, but also low range, and it's such a soothing sound. And I couldn't have picked a better instrument. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to these students. 2 are my current students, and 2 are soon to be mine. I think maybe after this experience they're a little frightened about that, but they'll survive just fine. So I'm going to have them come up, and they will introduce themselves, and they will introduce what they're going to play for you. And would you like any questions at the end?
Yes,
Okay.
if there's time,
Okay.
we always have plenty of questions.
Great. So, come on up.
My name is Jennifer Sun. I'm actually from Vancouver, BC. Spent the past 4 years in Chicago, and I'll be moving again to Cleveland to study at the Cleveland Institute of Music with Dr. Kraut. I don't know, this whole experience has just been really exciting, and just to get together with 4 random strangers and put together music and just play with them is just a lot of fun. It's like Dr. Kraut said, we just oddly get along really well, different personalities, so yeah, it's been a great experience.
My name is Asher Klein. I will be a junior this coming fall at the Cleveland Institute of Music studying with Dr. Kraut. I'm originally from northern Utah, so we have the mountains but not the ocean like you guys. And I just second what Jen said, it's been a really wonderful experience joining in your community here and making friends with such wonderful people.
My name is Rachel Lumna. I am from Wheaton, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. I'm going to be a sophomore at the Cleveland Institute of Music, and I also study with Dr. Kraut. Yeah, and then this experience so far has been amazing. I have to say that out of all festivals I've ever been to, I've learned more here, and it hasn't even really been a week, than I have at any other festival that I've ever gone to. So this has been very meaningful to me, and it has helped me grow a lot.
My name is Brendan Phelps. I'm 22. I am from Akron, Ohio, where I did my undergrad for 4 years, and I'm just going to pursue a master's at CIM, like everyone, with Dr. Kraut. And to reiterate the point of how wonderful it is here, it just has been such a fun and safe environment to try anything. And it just didn't like playing masterclass. I played in masterclass yesterday, and I was so nervous and embarrassed beyond belief, but I didn't feel self-conscious at any point. So it was just nice to feel that free in a learning environment. So it's been so fun.
So I guess we'll be playing kind of a variety of music for you today, ranging from music by Fauré to Telemann, Golterman, all these classical musicians to we're going to play some habanera and some mellow cello for you later, just to end it off with something exciting. Yeah,
All right, and next we're going to be playing the second Telemann Sonata. It's originally for just 2 cellos, but we have 4 of us, so we're each going to double a part, so we can have it for 4 cellos.
And the really cool thing about this piece is that we're essentially playing the same part, but it's just set back by a bar.
Next we'll be playing Bach, the aria, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard it before, so I hope you enjoy.
This next piece we'll be playing for you is by George Galterman. It's a serenade arranged for 4 cellos. Is it an arrangement or is it original? I'm actually not sure if it's an arrangement or the original. But then after that, we will each play a different movement from the solo Bach cello suites. So, Serenade by Galterman.
Alright, so I'll be playing the 4th Bach cello suite, just a part of it called the Gigue, and it's kind of like a rustic dance. And I hope you can see that while you watch me play.
I don't know how much you may or may not know about the Bach cello suites, but he wrote 6 suites for solo cello, and each suite has 6 movements in it, and they're all dance movements, different sorts of dances, and then they each begin with a prelude, which introduces the key. So I'll be playing from the first Bach suite in G major, the minuets, number 1 and 2. They're 2 sets of dances that go together, and they're in complementary keys, so I hope that you enjoy that.
I will also be playing from Bach's First Suite, but while Azure played some of the later movements, I'm going to be playing the preludes, so the very first one. And this is, you will probably all recognize this piece, and if you think of Bach and of the cello, this is probably the piece that comes to mind.
And last, I will play the Sarabande from the same suite. Sarabande is one of my favorite movements of a whole suite, not only to listen to, but as a performer, because it's kind of that pivotal moment in the suite where it's like, I can take a break. You know, we're almost there, we've got 2 more movements left. So you'll notice that it's very broad, and there's a lot of breadth and lyricism.
thank you so much, you guys. We have time for a couple quick questions here. Any questions from the audience? I have one. So this is to each one of you. What's going to be the most remarkable moment or thing that you're going to take away from your experience here in Sitka, either as part of the symposium or just living in Alaska for the last week? So starting over there.
Most remarkable experience. I don't know. I guess I grew up in an urban area, and I'm always surrounded by people. And I'm not saying that Alaska's kind of isolated, but it just you're surrounded
kind of isolated
a little bit. I mean, just to get away from that city life and to come in to this beautiful environment, to be surrounded by like 9 amazing cellists. It's just, I don't think it's really an experience I could get anywhere else. And and to just, I think DK was saying earlier how we go to these festivals in the summer to always just practice and perform all these polished pieces. But I think, especially at this symposium, I think we're all at this level of being comfortable with each other, and to even just play a newly learned piece within like the past couple of days that we've learned it. And I don't know, there's just a lot of things I'll take away from this experience. And we had crab tasting the other day, and it was so good.
Yeah, for me, this symposium has been really unique in the way that I've felt very motivated to work at my cello and to practice, but not at all pressured, only inspired by Dr. Kraut and Mr. Bailey, and also maybe the most by my peers. Like you mentioned earlier, the 10 of us, when we first came, a lot of us didn't know each other and have become quite good friends over the course of the last week. And even the small things that your peers say or something that happens to someone else playing in master class, I think those little details will stick with me more than anything.
I agree with both. I think this festival is unique in that there's a really comfortable environment, and not only are we comfortable with each other just as people, but as musicians, we play for each other a lot, and that's a really good practice for us to keep playing in front of others and get more and more comfortable with that aspect. So I think what I'll take away is just knowing that you can be really comfortable with someone as a friend, and then also transition that over into playing for them. They're also going to be comfortable with you, and that it's really no different than, I don't know, everything's just very comfortable and very easy here, which is very nice.
Yeah, if you would have asked me any number of years earlier, I would have never said that I would have expected to ever be at Alaska or do any program like this. It's wonderful to be surrounded by such talented people that I can call my friends now, and teachers that I would have never thought of studying with, never thought I would be studying with. Yeah, it's like I was telling them earlier, it's so much that it's like a week in every day. I've never had a lesson every day, so it's just having that is incredible.
Well, great. Well, we want to thank you once again for sharing your talent with us.
Madam President, may I speak?
It sure can.
The old adage were heap credit where credit is due. Madam President, before you were president and while you were president, you did a lot of work on the duck race. I hope my friends here will join you in appreciation of all the work you did.
Oh, thank you. Yes, wearing that duck suit, I wear it with pride. So thank you everybody for everything. Next week is the Island Institute. It'll be Carolyn Servid and Peter Bradley here to talk about the upcoming symposium and next chapters for the Island Institute. So we'll see you then. Have a great week.